Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. In this new AutoCAD basic exercise video, I will be producing this object. But before we get started, a little information here. So here we have some of the basic recommended layers for drawing for CSEC. Uh, so for outline, we typically use between 0.3 to 0.7 and we use continuous. Color can be black or color of your choice. We need construction layer. This color is optional and the line weight should be 0.25. Text can be red or your color of your choice. Again, the line weight must be 0.25. Center line, again you choose your color. This should be 0.3 and I tend to use either center, center 2 or center x2 depending on the size of the drawing. For simple drawings like these, I think center 2 is good. Hatch, again, line weight 0.2, broken line 0.25 continuous. Viewport, if you will be scaling, sketch 0.25. But in reality, you don't need more than, well, for most drawings, you don't need more than your outline, construction line, text, dimension. And sometimes you might need center line and your broken line. Those are pretty much the basics. For this drawing, you'll need only your construction line and your outline pretty much because this object doesn't need a center per se, right? That being said, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is to analyze the drawing. Here this drawing has an overall dimension of 64 by 54. Here we have a triangle that is located 26 millimeters from the lower left and 5 millimeters from the left vertical side. So this right we have a cutout here. This cutout is 24 by a value which I'm not quite sure. Here we have a rectangle and the dimension for the side has not been established, so I will need to get that in place. That is 16 by 16 and the center of the rectangle is 29 millimeters from the right side and 30 millimeters from the base. With that being said, let's get into this drawing. So my first step would be, tips. Always break down figure into basic shapes. Rectangle, circle, multi-line, and angles. Yeah, so work best. So again, always break down every figure in the shape of in 4 shapes: rectangle, circle slash arc, lines at an angle, and multiplying. 4 basic shapes pretty much. So let's get started. This drawing shouldn't take us more than about 4 or 5 minutes to do maximum. So before I get started, always draw on your construction layer. So left click. I think I'm gonna move this from here. I don't need this right now. Enter, left click, bring that all the way over, escape. REC for rectangle, enter, left click here. If you're using AutoCAD architecture, you must place the @ sign before you start at 64, 54, enter. That has been established. My next step is to mark off this distance here. So from this point, I will be using a circle of radius 24. C, enter. Left click here and 24, enter. So now we have established this point, this point here. So now I could use the next circle to get this point right here. Space bar for circle, left click, 18, 1, 8, enter. And now the points are, so here is one point, other point is here. This might be a little confusing for some persons. So what you could do, you could also use line and track the point from here, object snap tracking, and enter 18, 1, 8, enter, end up at the same point, and then bam onto this, enter, to get that as well. So this has been established. The next step is I could use a circle to get this point here, to get this point, or I could also use object snap tracking. So space bar for line, I hover at my mouse here, do not click, go up a little bit, then type 24, 24, enter, then turn, something doesn't seem correct here. Alright, let me go for circle. Oh, I used the wrong place. From here, let me go 24, 24, enter. It's safer to get this point right here. This is my point. So now that I have this, I can delete this. Line, go for line. And to get this point, I'm starting here. Turn on auto mode. 22, enter. Up. That has been established. I could now trim. TR, enter, enter 2 times. Left click here, left click there, left click there. That is done. I could now delete this as I no longer need it, or you could let it stay as construction. So now the outline has been established. It's now time for me to establish the center mark for my the base for the triangle. I will be using object snap tracking, or I could use circle, C, enter, left click here, up 26, 26, enter. This is my point. I go for line, and I left click here, drag 5, 5, enter. And I could continue on the same path and draw line 14, 1, 4, enter, enter. So I now have two lines. One line here represents the 14, one line here represents that. Now my triangle is an equilateral triangle. So for this I will be using polygon, sorry. I will be using polygon, POL for polygon, enter. When it asks enter number of sides, in this case I want 3 sides. So I type 3, enter. Then be careful here. In this case I want edge. I want to use my edge as reference, which would be this point and that point. So I left click here, then left click there, and that is generated. Yep. Left click here, that's generated. So now that has been established, my next step is to establish the center for this square. Again, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to delete this. So I could use line from here. I could go draw a line on this existing line up 30, then out. Or I could track that point. So let me go line, left click here, then track that up, type 30, 30, enter, then draw this out, 29, 29, enter, enter. This is 29. This is 29. 29. Enter. Is that 29? That seems a little long for 29. Alright. That's why I love to use circle, circle. Now I don't get it wrong. Escape. Escape. So I'll be using circle for this. Click right here. Just to confirm. 29 to 9. Enter. Okay. So here is the point for my center. Right here. So I'm going to delete this. Oh, and oh yes, quadrant will have been there. Now my next step is to draw my rectangle. So for that square which has 4 equal sides, right? REC for rectangle, enter. Left click and let the side of this be 16, comma 16, enter. That is now my rectangle. Now I intend to move this to the quadrant here. And it is important to note that when you're setting up your drawing space, you must ensure that quadrant is active. What that does, it allows me to snap onto a point right here, right? So quadrant allow me to snap onto 4 points: the top, upper top, lower section, the right, and also the left. Now I want to move this up here and drop the center right here. I could do the I could move this. So I left click, type M for move, enter. Now I want the base point. The base point has to be in the center right here. So I left click here, and it is important to note that this midpoint center point only pops up because I turned that on while setting up. So I left click here, drag that, deactivate my orthogonal mode, go up to here and left click there, and that is now done. I could now delete this, yeah, and also delete this and then brighten up, yeah. So for that I'm gonna change my outline layer to the outline layer. Then I engage polyline. Anyone knows why I choose polyline to do this instead of a regular line? Yeah. If you say because I want all lines to form one single entity, then yes, you're right. Yeah. Left click there, left click there, left click here, left click here, and then C for close. C, enter for close. Then left click, go up to layers and touch on this, and that is now done. Yep. And our next step would be to dimension this. So to dimension, we would first go to our dimension layer, then click on linear, left click here, left click at the next end, then drag, space bar to reactivate, left click here, left click there, then drag this up to that. That's done. Space bar to reactivate, left click here, space bar one more time, left click on the side, then drag. Space bar 2 times, bam bam, left click here, then drag. Now space bar 2 times, left click on the line with the box, then drag. Yeah. Now space bar once, left click here, left click there, and drag. Excuse me. Space bar once, left click here, left click there, then drag down. That is done. Now my next step is to establish my center. Space bar once, and I left click here, left click here, and I have that. Now I have this. Space bar to reactivate. Left click here, left click there, and I have that. 5. Space bar to reactivate 2 times. Bring this down, that's square. Space bar 2 times again. Left click there, that is out there. And I space bar once to establish a distance from here. Well, let me use the center which is there to here. And we have that. Space bar to reactivate. Left click from here to the center. And we have that. So there we have it. This AutoCAD basic drawing has been completed. Thank you for watching, guys. Remember, leave your comments and of course respond to those questions. Peace out. Remember, you don't need to be good to start, but you must start to be good.